welcome to this deep dive. We're looking at something really fundamental today. Why you might feel unexpectedly zapped of energy.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that feeling, right? Being drained. But sometimes it's not the obvious things hitting us hardest.
Exactly. And we're going to explore those, well, less obvious energy sappers, the ones that can leave you feeling like you've run a marathon when, all you've done is get through the day.
Yeah, just survive Tuesday.
Yeah.
And our guide for this is a really insightful article from Best Holistic Life. It's by Theresa Byrne.
Oh, right, Theresa Byrne.
Yeah, she brings over 2 decades of experience helping people with boundaries, mindset, that sort of thing.
She has quite a background, doesn't she? Personal development, martial arts.
And something she calls positive intelligence.
Yeah.
Gives her a really kind of rounded view on why we feel the way we do.
And what's really interesting about her take is how she spots these subtle habits, these interactions that seem small.
Almost invisible sometimes.
Right. But they add up, and they can have this surprisingly big impact on our energy, sometimes even more than, the big stressful events.
So our mission today is pretty clear, I think. We're going to unpack these hidden energy drains. Theresa actually calls them energy vampires.
Ooh, energy vampires. I like that.
Yeah. So we'll help you spot them in your own life and give you some concrete strategies to, well, take your energy back.
So the goal is more thriving, more growth.
And that feeling of genuine rejuvenation we all kind of crave.
Definitely. And it makes you think, doesn't it? Have you ever, walked away from talking to someone and just felt flat, depleted?
Totally. Or, you're just scrolling on your phone thinking you're relaxing.
Killing time.
Yeah, and afterwards you just feel tired and maybe a bit empty.
Mm-hmm.
That happens.
Okay, so let's dive right into the first sneaky energy drain Theresa talks about. She calls it the drama magnet.
Ah, the drama magnet.
Mm-hmm.
We might all know one, or be one sometimes. Maybe. It's about those people, who consistently seem to blow things out of proportion. Every little issue becomes this huge saga.
Like life's a soap opera.
Yeah.
And the key thing there is recognizing the emotional toll it takes on you when you're always the sounding board for that amplified negativity.
It's not just listening, is it?
No.
Yeah.
You're often absorbing some of that stress, that anxiety yourself. It sort of seeps in.
Yeah. Have you ever felt like you're just trapped in someone else's emotional hurricane?
Oh, absolutely.
So Theresa offers a really practical strategy here. Just politely redirect the conversation. She suggests something like, wow, that sounds tough.
Acknowledge it first.
Right, acknowledge it. But what's your next move? Or what are you thinking of doing about it?
Yeah, that's smart. You show empathy, you're not dismissing them, but crucially, you shift the focus towards solutions, towards their agency.
Instead of just wallowing in the drama.
Exactly. It's a subtle way to set a boundary, protect your own energy.
Okay, next up, the overbooked calendar. Oh boy. I think this one hits home for a lot of us.
Mm-hmm. That feeling of your schedule just being crammed dawn till dusk, constantly feeling like you're running on fumes.
Right. And the key thing Theresa points out is the intention behind saying yes to things.
Yeah. Are you saying yes because you genuinely want to? Or is it, guilt, obligation, that feeling you should?
Because that difference, that should, can be a massive energy drain itself.
Totally. Does your to-do list ever feel like it's just reproducing on its own?
Oh, all the time. So Theresa's strategy is basically a little internal check-in before you commit.
Like pausing before you say yes.
Exactly. Ask yourself, honestly, do I really want to do this? Or maybe, is this a yes coming from obligation, not desire?
It really raises that important point about valuing our own time and energy, doesn't it? Are we proactive or just reactive to everyone else's demands?
And making space for yourself, for rest. It's not selfish.
No, it's essential. It's fuel. It's necessary for, sustained well-being.
Okay, number 3, something many of us do without even thinking. The scroll hole.
Ah, yes. The digital abyss.
That innocent-seeming habit, right? Pick up your phone for a quick break.
Like some cute dog videos.
See someone's perfect vacation.
Right.
And bam, an hour's gone. Just vanished into the feed.
And what's fascinating, or maybe kind of sneaky, about the scroll hole is how it feels passive, like you're relaxing.
But you're not really.
Well, your brain is still working. It's processing all that information, making tiny judgments, comparing. Even if it doesn't feel like hard work, it actually demands quite a bit of mental energy.
And then you feel that fatigue afterwards. Plus maybe that, where did the time go feeling.
Exactly. So Theresa suggests a couple of really simple, actionable things, like set a timer before you even start scrolling.
Or maybe even better, just turn off those notifications. The ones that constantly ping and pull you back in.
Yeah, the goal is just to be more conscious about it, to take back control of your attention, your digital space.
Because if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's about being intentional with our focus.
Right. Create those boundaries around digital stuff. Free up that mental bandwidth for things that actually restore you, or things that are just, more meaningful.
Okay, now this next one can be really tough because it's internal. The inner bully.
Oof. Yeah, that negative self-talk, the critical voice inside your head.
The one that just loves pointing out flaws, undermining your confidence. You know those phrases, are you sure you're good enough for that?
Remember how you messed that up last time? Or you could have handled that so much better.
And what's really key to understand, Theresa says, is that this critic, it's often just a learned pattern. It's not objective truth.
Right. It might feel very real, very loud, but it stems from old stuff, insecurities. You have to question its authority, basically.
Does that harsh inner voice ever just hold you back? Stop you from trying things? Or even just enjoying your wins?
It can be paralyzing.
So the advice here is kind of interesting. Treat that voice like a chatty, maybe slightly annoying coworker.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
How does that work?
You acknowledge it's there. Okay, I hear you. But you don't engage deeply. You don't let it run the show.
Don't give it too much airtime.
Exactly. And she even suggests actively swapping the negative stuff with positive affirmations, like consciously telling yourself, I'm doing my best, or this is a learning process.
That really brings up self-compassion, doesn't it? Think about how you talk to a friend in the same boat.
Oh yeah, we're usually way kinder to friends than ourselves.
Much kinder. It's about extending that same grace inward.
Moving on. Number 5, the work-life blur. This feels especially relevant now with remote work and being always connected.
Totally. Those lines between professional and personal life just get fuzzy. Checking emails late at night, on weekends, thinking about work when you're meant to be off.
And the core issue, Theresa points out, is the lack of real downtime. Mental downtime.
Yeah.
Emotional downtime.
If you're always sort of on call, even just in your head, your mind and body don't get that proper chance to recover, to recharge. It leads straight to burnout.
Has that boundary become a bit smudged for you lately between work and home?
It's a constant battle for many people.
So the strategy is pretty straightforward, but maybe hard to implement.
Yeah.
Set clear cutoff times for work, like really clear.
And stick to them.
Yes. And she also suggests creating an end-of-day ritual. Could be super simple. A short walk, maybe just a few deep breaths.
Something to signal to your brain, okay, work is done now, we're transitioning.
Yeah, it's like creating a mental boundary, because if we zoom out, making these deliberate separations lets you actually be present in your personal life.
Right. Enjoy your downtime, and then hopefully return to work feeling refreshed, not just less tired.
Okay, drain number 6 is the clutter zone. This one might seem less direct, maybe.
Physical clutter affecting mental energy.
Exactly. That physical disorganization, messy desk, closets overflowing, it creates this constant low-level background noise in your mind.
Like a visual to-do list that's never finished.
Yeah. And it contributes to mental fatigue. What's interesting is how our physical space really impacts our cognitive function.
Visual clutter leads to mental clutter. Makes it harder to focus, harder to relax.
Does a messy space ever just feel draining? Even if you're trying to ignore it?
Oh, definitely. It can create a subtle sense of overwhelm.
So Theresa's advice is don't try to tackle it all at once. Start small, like really small. Maybe just 10-minute declutter sessions.
Focus on one drawer, one shelf.
Exactly. One small area. And then this is key. Notice how you feel afterwards. Notice that little lift in mental clarity.
That's a good point. It prompts us to think about our relationship with our stuff or space.
Yeah. Creating a calmer environment can actually free up quite a bit of mental energy that was being sort of subconsciously bothered by the mess.
Makes sense. Ready for the next one?
Let's do it. Number 7, the rescuer rule.
Ah, the helper syndrome.
Yeah, that tendency some of us have to always jump in and try to fix other people's problems. Often, at the expense of our own time and energy.
Being the go-to person for every crisis, big or small. Friends, family, coworkers.
And the fundamental challenge here is that imbalance, isn't it? Of giving versus receiving energy.
Totally. If you're constantly pouring your energy out to fix others, without refilling your own cup, you're going to end up depleted. And maybe even a bit resentful eventually.
Are you often the one everyone turns to first when things go wrong?
It can feel good to be needed, but
But there's a limit. So Theresa encourages setting healthy limits on your availability.
yeah.
and practicing the art of saying no.
Which can be really hard for rescuers.
So hard. She suggests having some phrases ready, like, I wish I could help with that right now, but my plate is really full.
Or, I'm happy to listen, but I'm not really in a position to take that on myself right now. Polite, but clear.
Yeah. And if we look at the bigger picture here, it's about understanding you can be supportive, you can be caring.
Without carrying the weight of everyone else's world on your shoulders.
Exactly. Setting those boundaries is crucial for sustainable relationships and just for your own sanity, really.
Well said. Okay, what's number 8?
Number 8 is the perfectionist pressure.
The impossible pursuit.
Yeah, that relentless drive for impossibly high standards, that constant feeling that nothing's ever quite good enough.
And the huge amount of energy that gets wasted in that chase for something unattainable. That exhausting loop of it's still not perfect.
And what's vital to recognize, Theresa says, is that perfection. It's often subjective anyway, and it's usually elusive.
Right, and striving for it all the time can actually backfire. It can lead to procrastination because you're scared to start if it won't be perfect. More anxiety.
And ironically, maybe lower productivity because you're stuck tweaking instead of finishing.
Exactly. Do you ever feel trapped by that need for everything to be absolutely flawless?
I think many high achievers struggle with this. So the suggestion is to consciously reframe your thinking.
How so?
Try replacing "this must be perfect" with something like "I'm working on it," or "good enough is often better than perfect," or even just "done is good."
Focus on effort and progress, not some mythical endpoint of flawlessness.
Yeah, celebrate the steps you took. She reminds us that done is often way more satisfying and definitely less stressful than perfect but never finished.
That really invites us to rethink what success even means, doesn't it? Is it that impossible peak, or is it the journey, the learning, the growth?
Making meaningful progress.
Yeah.
Okay, we're nearing the end. Number 9, the financial stress frenzy.
Ooh, a big one for many people right now.
Definitely. With, economic uncertainty, rising costs, that constant worry, that overfixation on money concerns.
Even when you're not actively dealing with bills or budgets.
Right. It can just cloud your thinking. It drains mental energy needed for other things.
The crucial point here is how that persistent worry creates this background hum of anxiety.
Yeah, like static.
Exactly. And that low-level stress just eats up mental resources, makes it harder to focus, harder to make clear decisions, harder to enjoy life.
Do money worries ever just make it really difficult to concentrate on anything else?
It's a common experience. So what's the strategy?
Theresa recommends scheduling a specific time to deal with it, like one dedicated financial check-in day or hour per week.
Contain it rather than letting it bleed into everything.
Pretty much. Use that time to proactively manage things, look at your budget, make a plan. The idea is that by tackling it head-on at a set time, you reduce that constant underlying worry the rest of the week.
So it's about taking proactive control, or at least feeling like you have some control, rather than feeling overwhelmed by it 24/7.
Yeah, even a basic plan can provide a sense of security, which can really lessen the stress strain.
That makes sense. Okay, last one.
Last one, number 10, the boundaries who? Syndrome.
Huh. Love the name.
It's about dealing with those individuals, and we probably all know at least one who just consistently seem to disregard personal boundaries.
Texting at all hours.
Expecting instant replies no matter what you're doing, dropping by unannounced, that kind of thing.
And what's essential to understand here is that letting those boundary violations slide again and again, it breeds resentment.
And that feeling of being undervalued, maybe taken for granted.
Both of which are huge drains on your energy and just your overall well-being.
Does a particular person maybe pop into your head? Someone who doesn't quite seem to respect your need for space or downtime?
We might need to plead the fifth on that one.
Fair enough. So Theresa's advice is, again, about communication. Politely, but directly, state your needs.
No hints. No beating around the bush.
Nope, be clear. She suggests having some go-to phrases ready like, hey, I saw your text. I'll be able to respond properly tomorrow.
Or, just so you know, my weekends are generally dedicated to family personal stuff, so I might be slow to reply then.
Exactly. She really emphasizes the positive, empowering effect of just clearly and calmly stating what works for you, saying no when you need to.
It really comes down to self-respect, doesn't it? Setting boundaries isn't just about protecting your time, it's about signaling your own value.
Your needs matter, yeah.
Absolutely.
Whew. Okay, so that's the 10 sneaky energy drains. We've covered a lot of ground. What's the big takeaway here?
Well, what's really insightful, I think, is seeing how interconnected a lot of these are, right? Like, the overbooked calendar might link to the rescuer role or perfectionism.
Yeah, they're not always isolated.
No. And addressing one area can often have this positive ripple effect on the others. But the core message really is about cultivating two things: self-awareness.
Noticing what actually drains you.
Exactly. And then consistency. Consistently implementing the strategies to manage those drains. It's not a one-time fix.
Right. It's about becoming more mindful of what depletes you, consciously setting those boundaries we talked about,
Keeping your own priorities in sight.
and just regularly checking in with yourself. How am I feeling? What's draining me this week? That sort of thing.
And when you think about the broader implications, the payoff for tackling these energy drains is huge, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. Less stress, for one.
More inner peace, maybe, and just having significantly more energy left over for the people, the activities, the things that genuinely bring you joy and meaning,
Yeah. It's really about saying goodbye to those subtle energy thieves, those vampires.
and welcoming back your own vitality, reclaiming your energy.
Exactly.
So maybe as you reflect on this conversation, you could consider this. Which one, or maybe two, of these 10 sneaky drains really resonated with you? Which one felt most familiar right now?
Yeah. Which one made you go, ooh, yeah, that's me?
Mm-hmm. And then think about just one small, concrete step you could take this week. Something tiny, maybe, to start addressing it.
And then pay attention, right? Notice how reclaiming even that little bit of energy makes you feel.
Exactly. That feedback loop is important.
And remember, these valuable insights we've been discussing, they come from the work of Theresa Byrne over on Best Holistic Life.
Right. Her article is the foundation for this.
So if this deep dive has sparked your interest and you want to explore it more, we definitely recommend checking out her work.
It's great stuff. Well, thank you for tuning in and engaging with us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for listening.